welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE, and I'm excited for my next guest. He's an entrepreneur, a coach. His story is amazing. I'm excited to have him on the show. Welcome to the show, Franco Perez.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, man, the pleasure's all mine, man. The pleasure's all mine. So let's just jump right into it, man. Okay, so it's crazy because you have an amazing story. Um, let's start with what inspired you to focus on mobile homes and as an affordable housing as a career path.
Yeah, um, it's interesting. I grew up with a single mom. My parents split when I was about 17, 18 years old. From then, I had to drop school and work full time. And I remember the pain and the struggle because I was working full time. And at the end of every month, we had to pay rent every single month. And it was so painful and I remember like, why is it that life is this hard? I feel like we're good people. I feel like, we work hard, and why is it that life is this difficult? And going through that pain really made me realize that opportunity isn't really as equal as it should be. And then from there, I worked at a real estate company. I really disliked being a real estate agent at that time because I just felt like I was helping a lot of wealthy people become wealthier, get their second or third home. Cool, cool. However, I what I hated was turning away these families that were making a median income. I'd have to tell them like, "Hey, unfortunately, you don't have enough money. Unfortunately, you don't make enough yet. Hey, go on and save up more, make a little more, and then we can talk later. Maybe I can help you later." And the truth is, they aren't given the right guidance. They aren't given the right advice. And there aren't really that many options out there for them. So I left doing regular real estate agent stuff and I tried to find something that would really help people that were in the shoes that I was in. Um, and worked, looked at government housing, tried to see how that worked. I hated it. And then I came across mobile homes and mobile home parks. And I was like, whoa, there's really a huge misunderstanding of what these parks are. There's a
Yeah,
huge misconception.
that's my next question. That's actually my next question. What what are some of the common misconceptions about mobile homes, and how do you aim to break that stigma surrounding them?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing is the stigmas and perception is really all we get about mobile home parks is really through the media, through Netflix, through the movies, through Eminem music videos or whatever it is, right? We only associate mobile home parks with poverty. People feel
Trailer
like
chart,
there's
yeah.
criminals here and that sort of thing, and it's unsafe. Where the reality of it is that just like in apartments, there's apartment complexes where I'd say don't want your kids running around, and then there's luxury apartments that are beautiful and luxurious. And it's the same with mobile home parks. There's a spectrum. There are bad parks, but there's plenty of good and beautiful parks as well, right? So that's the first thing is realizing that, hey, maybe I should take a look at one of them. Maybe I should see if there are mobile home parks in my area. But how I plan on breaking those stigmas is really what we've been doing is through YouTube. We do community tours. We showcase the the parks themselves, how beautiful they are. We showcase the people that live in these communities, the teachers, um, all these friendly families and that sort of thing. And then we also showcase through video the construction of how we build these homes, how quality built the homes that we're building are being built, and how beautiful and attractive these homes can actually look in real life. Um, but that's really how we face these stigmas, and through visuals is how I see is the only way to fight those stigmas.
So how do mobile homes provide a viable pathway to home ownership for first time buyers?
So what's interesting, I guess, for my area, for example, like in San Jose in the Silicon Valley,
Hmm.
these numbers that I'm saying are going to be higher than average or whatever, but the ratios can work out the same. So a two-bedroom apartment in my area is about 3,500 a month, and then buying a single family home median price is about $1.6 million, right? So very huge gap in between. How do you even imagine or dream that you can ever own a piece of real estate when you're paying 3,500 a month and trying to figure out how can I save up a $200,000 payment just to make an $8,000 payment to own a piece of single family, to own a piece of real estate? And it's a very big leap, and there's really nothing in between. Now, when we look at mobile homes and the financial modeling of mobile homes and how it works is it's that perfect in between, because you actually own the mobile home, you own the unit itself, and you don't actually own the land, which has its perks as well. So basically, if you imagine purchasing a single family home is a huge leap of 200K, $8,000 payment, that sort of thing. And if I instead shift from renting into owning a mobile home, we're looking at putting down about $35,000 for a 350K mobile home. And then with that, my payment on the space rent would be about $1,000. And then my mortgage would be about $2,500. So your mortgage, your total housing payment is going to be about the same of what you're paying for rent. But the difference is that the cash flow, the internal cash flow of your family is going to be better, because two-thirds of that payment is paying towards something that you own. You get a lot of the benefits of home ownership. You get appreciation, you get equity, you get tax benefits, and you get to pay down your mortgage, right? These are perks of owning real estate that you're able to get at a much entry level cost. And then from there, you'll be able to use that as a stepping stone to purchase real estate later down the line. We did a case study where you compare a renter to a mobile home owner. Over the course of 5 years, the difference is about $95,000, right? And with that, you can sell your mobile home with that appreciated asset. And then when you sell it, you'll have that money to be able to spend to put down on a single family home, right? And that's how wealth is built, right? It's finding these different shifts that we have to make to our current cash flow, and how do we have it work towards us better, right? When we I wish I was taught this when I was younger, but unfortunately we aren't taught this in
No,
school.
not at all.
And these are things that this is how the wealthy and the rich are doing it, and we should have equal opportunity to being able to do that too.
Yeah, we're not taught about finances. We're not taught about investments, as not especially in the black and brown community. That is definitely something that we're not taught. That's something my mom is she migrated from Puerto Rico in the 70s, in the early 70s, and she didn't speak English. She still doesn't speak English to this day, but she wasn't taught like she didn't teach me about finances. She didn't know about any of that. So I can't blame her for something she didn't know about.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's something that we just weren't. That's it's just something we weren't taught in school, or anybody in our family knew about.
yeah. And it's not just a wealth gap, but it's an information gap, right? We aren't taught these things, and these learnings aren't really accessible, you know. And I mean, it is now, because it's like you can learn these things online, right?
Yeah,
But there definitely is, it's kind of goes around that, who do you surround yourself with, and that sort of thing. But it's tough when you're in a situation where you're not making that much. You normally aren't really surrounded by people that are doing well when you're in that situation.
hmm yeah. That's and that's something that you're not really taught that. Um, that's something that I've learned within the last few years of self development is it's you are who the five people closest to you, right? So if you're not with someone, if you're not learning, if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, then you're not with the right people. So within the last couple of years, I've started connecting with some amazing people, and learning from some amazing people, and that's because I've inserted myself in those rooms, in those places where I've started to connect with people that are doing what I want to do and are doing very well at it. So the only way I'm gonna learn is, yes, by experience, but it's also learning from people that are doing it on a consistent basis.
Yeah. No, totally. That's so important.
So what are some of the challenges or obstacles you have encountered in promoting mobile home ownership?
I think that the stigmas and that sort of thing was kind of a first obstacle. What's interesting is that people have all these assumptions about what they look like and that sort of thing. But I think the other is, it's an ongoing growing process. We started by converting. Actually, we started by helping renters get out of renting and then to own a lot of these mobile homes, and so that worked better for them. And then from there we got into converting old mobile homes that are like 1970s and then replacing them, so removing it completely and building a whole new 1,500 square foot 3 bedroom 2 bath luxurious style home. And that's really what we're doing now, and what we're proud of doing is really pushing the limits of how these homes can be built, the level of quality, uh, and also keeping the affordability element of it as well. So through that, there was several different problems that we had to deal with. Getting permitting, getting funding as a business was probably one of the biggest issues. Um, but yeah, I mean, from that we've really grown to a company that's been multi-city, and now it's just we want to be able to scale and do more in other metro areas and that sort of thing too.
So okay, for you, do you own the, like, is it your goal to own the parks that these homes are in, or is that just another aspect that people can work towards as well, is maybe owning their own park eventually or something?
It is another aspect. It's not really a top goal of mine. That would be really cool. I
Yeah.
think for me, it's what's interesting is that I love, for me, what's interesting is like, I feel like I've really built this business in the hope to help as many families as possible. And I know there's a lot of business owners out there that are chasing like, hey, I want to make X amount a month. I want to own this and that sort of thing. But what's interesting is my hope is to inspire people to build a business that really creates impact and creates change and fulfillment. Because for me, I still tear up today when I help one family that be able to own their first home that never thought it was possible,
So
and then to
you
be
get
able
you
to
I'm sorry,
scale and
you get more satisfaction from seeing these families get into these homes than actually the money you make from it. So
exactly. Yeah,
okay,
and I think it's so important to know that sometimes fulfillment and impact is a better compensation than money itself, right? So,
yes.
I think that's where I'm really focused is how do we help more families be able to start their stepping stone, their first wealth building journey, through mobile homes. And it doesn't matter if it's through us or whomever, but just pushing out that education so that people know that this is an option, right? And that's really our big goal lately.
Cool, that's dope, man. It's good to see that you're more inspired by the actual service of to the people and helping the people out and getting them into their first home, Whereas, like you said, there's other businesses that they focus more on the bottom line. That's their main concern. And it's great to see people like yourself focus more on helping people, showing them how to build wealth, showing them how to do it the right way, and
Yeah.
and get to a point where they can be financially stable.
Because you got to remember is I was in those shoes, right? And I
Yeah.
felt that pain, and it was a dark part of my life. It was depression, considered suicide. It's really dark and sad, and and I know for a fact right now that there are families right there that are currently, as we're talking right now, that have these fears of, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay that next housing payment, right? And I know that there are people that were in the shoes and the pain that I was in, right? And just knowing that with what we're doing is going to be able to help ease that family's life, to be able to help them get ahead, that is super fulfilling.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so okay, so I understand you went through the struggles and you went, but what was one of the biggest motivators for you to, what really opened up your eyes to that this was something that could help people out? Is this is something that, like, mobile homes was a solution? This is something that not anymore, not everybody's pushing. Like you said again, it's the stigmatism that you come from the trailer park, you're trash or whatever it is.
Mhm.
What inside of you told you, like, no, this is the path that I can see something that is incredible and that I can help so many people.
Yeah. I guess the first part of your question is what motivated me. I think when you have a deep why and a deep passion or that sort of thing, it really helps you want to learn that anything can be possible, and then you can see things at a different perspective. That's the first thing, is like knowing that I really wanted to help people that were in my shoes. That allowed me to want to learn more and understand, how do homes work? How does rent work? How are the rich getting wealthier? What is the real numbers of this and that? And what are the ratios that's comfortable for a middle class family? Right. And I got into this deep hole of studying that. And also studied government housing and how that works. And it's like a lottery system. And it's really, unfortunately, there's not a lot of effective government housing for middle class families to start this home ownership journey. There's a lot of stuff to help homeless. There's a lot of stuff uh, to to help veterans and that sort of thing. But really, like these middle class teachers, construction workers, these hard working class people, there aren't a lot of options. It's either you rent or you own, right? And I I studied the government stuff, and I was like, this doesn't really make sense. And then I came across mobile homes, and I was like, shoot. One is, I was also shocked, right? I thought mobile home parks were trashy, that sort of trailer trash, just like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then I got into this community, and I was like, whoa, this is quite a nice place. And if we talk location, it's like we have mobile home parks right across the street from Google campus, from Samsung. They're really hidden, and you don't really know about it, but they're out there throughout the country. Um, and then the other is, I really took a deep study of who lives in these parks. You know, what are their stories? Why did you choose to live here? How do you like living here? And I did my own personal research of how that works. And then come to find out, these false stigmas, a lot of people think they depreciate. A lot of people think they're horrible quality. These parks are ugly and unsafe. All of them are wrong, right? And it was
Yeah.
shocking. It allowed for me to create a new perspective of thought. And since then, after realizing through discovery that this is helping teachers be able to stay in this area, it's helping middle class families be able to live in a nice school area, by nearby really good jobs, and that sort of thing. And there's just something to be said about it. And that's kind of how I discovered it.
Because I'm sure one of the concerns that people have is durability and will these homes withstand the use? Like, what's the average lifespan of a mobile home, basically?
Hmm. So with the 1970s homes, and I don't want to bash on it or anything like that, because for some people, these older style trailer style homes are all that they can afford, and that works great for them at that time,
Hmm.
right? Now, when these were built in the 70s, they were really built as temporary housing. They were really built to maybe move once in a while. So they had to build them very light. They built them with metal, thin aluminum framing, with wood paneling, low quality materials to keep it temporary. But I do know of families that live in these older homes, but they've been able to upkeep it to several years. So if you have someone that's taking good care of it, it can really last forever. And there's people that remodel it and that sort of thing. And that's one element of it. And then the second element is the now, right? Now, how is our company building homes? You know, we abide by the HUD laws, which really is pretty much the standards of any new construction out there. So we have 2x4 exterior walls. We have fiber cement exterior siding. We have a lot of structural, plumbing, electrical, HVAC. There's several different inspections that happen in these factories. We build these homes in a factory, like an assembly line, right? And it's really amazing how we build it. If you haven't seen our YouTube channel, I love showing, like, hey, this is how the future of housing should be. This is how we're going to keep home building affordable and that sort of thing, right? But the level of quality of how they're built is so much higher than how it used to be. And when you see the finished product, you will not be able to tell that this is a mobile home, right? And that's what we're trying to show people, is that you have 12-foot high ceilings and stacked windows. You have quartz countertops, stainless steel appliances. We really, really push the limits of what's possible with these homes.
Yeah, I
But
see some
yeah,
of the homes. I see some of the videos of the homes and I'm blown away by like how some of these homes look like they're like they look like $1 million homes inside, and the high ceilings and the space in them. Because you think of a mobile home and you think it's small inside, and some of the ones I've seen on your videos, they were huge inside.
they're huge. Yeah, that's the thing, is that they are perfect, great living. I mean, 1,500 square feet is their average size, which is perfect for a family. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, your own in-house laundry, right? You don't have to share walls with strangers or have someone living above you or below you and worry about noise, parking. The lifestyle of these communities are also a whole nother conversation, right? Is that being able to live in these communities and having that all these comforts and benefits really make a difference too. Yeah, I mean, you've seen it. These homes really are beautiful.
Yeah.
The communities themselves are also beautiful. And I did want to touch on the affordability of this too, is that if we're coming across this huge housing affordability problem, and unfortunately people don't realize it, right? Also, the cost of construction is going to be we're going to have
Oh,
even
yeah.
bigger problem than we have today. All of our workforce and skilled workforce, they're 50 and over and they're retiring, and then we don't have younger generations that want to become a contractor, right? And that's going to cause a huge problem. So if you think about it, cars were only built for the rich and the wealthy to be able to afford back then. And it was only until we started building these in factories, in assembly lines, that we were able to make it much cheaper and much more efficient to be able to be sold at scale at an affordable cost for the middle class and for everybody out there. And that's exactly what we're doing here when it comes to mobile homes and how we build these in factories. You've seen the videos where these are built on an assembly line. It starts with the foundation, the steel framing. they do the floors, they do the HVAC, they do everything at an efficient rate. And this really is the future of construction. And we're able to save on material costs. We're able to have way less waste. We're able to have better inspections on the quality of how they're built. And we also have better safety precautions for the construction people working on these homes. And because the process is so much smoother, we need less labor, less material, and we're able to build at a much faster, effective rate and a much more affordable rate, and a high level of quality as well.
So how do you educate communities and potential buyers about the benefits of mobile home ownership?
What's fascinating is we have, well, one is the education element is really through YouTube. That's really where we see that coming, and we get a lot of speaking gigs as well throughout. A lot of people ask us to speak on housing and that sort of thing, and then but it's really just awareness is what I try to bring, as far as how that goes. But I don't know if that answered your question.
It was good.
Yeah. And then you said what's interesting is when we build them, we always have multiple buyers for the home. I think once it's there, it's kind of one of those things that you build it, they will come, right? And then we have, once they see the actual home itself, we end up getting multiple offers for this, and the demand obviously is there because people are paying $4,000 a month, and people are paying $1.7 million for a home. If this is a perfect in between, we can understand that this is something that's needed, right? And when it came to my discovery element, it's really a deep understanding of knowing how that works.
Okay. All right. Cool. So can you share like any innovative or future trends in the mobile home industry that you're excited about?
Yeah. I mean, our business, we always try to push the limits of what's possible. We do a lot of smart tech. We do a lot of smart home stuff, work with Alexa and Google to control your home, smart thermostats and switches and that sort of thing. But there's a lot of different tech and innovations around it. I think for me, I'm really mostly excited that this is a model that can really help any metro city, whether it's Atlanta, whether it's Austin, Vegas, LA, San Diego. That's what excites me. And it excites me that in Washington, D.C., they're excited about how this is going to help as well. I was just there last week speaking to state senators and that sort of thing. And I think that's what's more exciting for me. And a lot of innovations and that type of thing. I get excited about the process and the breakdown and how we've been able to reduce 3 dumpsters per home to only 1/3 of a dumpster per home. Like, these aren't things that you see at the end, but I love that type of thing, right? That's what excites me.
Awesome. Um, so what's the potential return of investment for a mobile home for someone who right now that's what they're that I guess that can be like a stepping stone towards eventually selling it and moving into a conventional home.
Yeah. So with that question, it really comes down to what your current financial status is, right? Or your current financial situation is. So I, I wouldn't say that mobile homes is for everybody, but we love giving the right advice to help you analyze and think for your own. And then also, if you're in our areas, we love giving the right advice of hey, does this make sense for you financially and that sort of thing. So what it really comes down to is is your current housing payment, is any of that going towards something you own? Most of our clients, their housing payment is already 100% lost because they're paying that $3,500 a month on rent for 5 to 10 years, which really adds up, right? So the ROI really comes down to how much of that payment that you're already losing at 100% loss can you keep and save some of that as part of something that you can call your own, of an asset that you own yourself, right? So there's no real like specific formula. If I bought a home, I'm going to have 20% uh, profit or better situation than before. So there's no real ROI for the consumer itself. It really comes down to the value of that home, and is it something, and the money, the cash flow of that home going towards something that you own, and how these prices and that sort of thing is going to vary a lot based on your area.
Awesome. So you said you mentioned that you were in DC speaking. Is that something that you find yourself doing a lot lately? Going into to speak to government officials about the value of mobile homes in their communities?
I'd say so. We've been getting a lot of speaking opportunities and being asked to talk on this topic because there's been a huge amount of shifts in the real estate world, right? And and the construction world. So people are realizing how big of a problem this is. There's going to be, and how big of the problem this is going to be even worse 3 to 5 years down the line, right? And part of like what me and you were talking about earlier is, how do we educate the market? How do we let people know that this is an option? How do we educate the middle class that this is something you should consider, right? And that's why we're taking on more podcasts. That's why we're taking on more speaking gig opportunities, is to really educate not just the consumer, but also educate politicians, these policymakers, educate these government entities, so that they know that these parks are really something that they should be backing with better financing. We should be supporting the build of these low price quality homes. The more we can build homes, the more available homes there are, and the more affordable it will be for the middle class. And these are the more awareness and the more noise and how loud we can be, the better it'll be for the regular people, right? And I'm just a big hater on this big wealth gap, and how real estate is only benefiting the rich. And unfortunately, the way things are going, this wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it
It's
becomes
pushing out the middle class. We're no longer. It's eliminating the middle class.
it
That's what
is
it
it
looks
is
like. It's look like it's just gonna be the wealthy and the poor. It's
Yeah.
like it's really, that gap is getting so big that everything is going up in price except for what you getting paid. So
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy that you mentioned, because the middle class is disappearing.
it is, and it doesn't hurt. It's happening slow enough so that people aren't angry and protesting and hurtful, but the truth of it is, it's happening, right? And it is a big problem, and we have to address it. We have to realize it. And we've seen this happen in other countries where this same thing is happening. And then there, like you said, there's either the wealthy and then the very poor, right? And we don't want that to happen. I am waking up every morning to fight for that not to happen, right? We want equal opportunity. And this is my way of keeping that opportunity available, because
Mhm.
in the real estate world, it's going to be either you own real estate or you don't.
Yeah,
And that's part of what keeps this financial freedom available, is real estate,
yeah.
right? And yeah, it's
No,
it's uh
you're right. It's something, and that's why it's one of the reasons I do my podcast, is to have people on like yourself, and have other coaches and have other people come on and explain to people like, hey, this, you can do this. You don't. I understand not everybody's meant entrepreneurship and stuff like that. Some people just are afraid to step out of the box and are complacent with their 9 to 5. But again, but that's the programming. So to be able to have, again, people like yourself and other guests that I've had on come on and tell their story and show people that it can be done, that you don't necessarily have to fit the norm. You can actually do things so that you can have a better life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm glad you're doing that because people need to hear, it inspires people.
No, it does. It's one of the reasons. Again, this is why I do my podcast. Is like you, if you can help one family get into a home, the just the feeling you get from that,
Uh-huh.
I can imagine it's a wonderful feeling for you just to be able to get that family into that home and into that opportunity to make a better life for themselves.
Yeah. It is one of the best feelings in the world, being able to know you've helped this family make a difference in this family's future for their kids and for their opportunities. It's some of the best moments of my life, honestly. So it's
Yeah.
like it's I love it.
And I wish everyone could find that thing that they love to do, that what they're passionate about, find what they're meant for they're meant to do here. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for you, because like I was watching your videos, man. You got a lot of stuff going on, man. You're doing a lot of things, brother. You're doing some big things, and I congratulate you, man. And my hat's off to you, because you are helping a lot of people. You're doing something amazing, and continue to do what you're doing, man. And you will be blessed, because you're focused on the right thing. You're focusing on helping people. That's what we should all be focusing on, is helping each other through these times.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. And thanks for that kind comment. It means a lot. And I feel like hopefully it inspires other, I think there's so much good people out there, and hopefully it inspires someone else to be able to build something that can also make a difference, or something that they're passionate about. So
Awesome, man. Awesome. This has been great, man. I appreciate you being a part of the show. This has been awesome. Now it's you get the solo layout, you get the solo screen, and you get to plug away, let people know where they can find you, your website, everything.
cool. I mean, yeah, I think all of our links are at, if you want to find us, our links are at www.franco.tv, or you could Google us at Franco Mobile Homes. Yeah, if there's something I wanted to share, it's really just to find something that can be fulfilling, that can have purpose and can really help people. I think there's a lot of business owners and a lot of YouTube videos that are like, get you excited about money, but consider finding something that you're passionate about, finding something that can help more people. And to me, that's what drives me. And I don't think there's enough people that talk about how fulfillment is such a key element to happiness. And it's the best. Fulfillment and impact is sometimes the best compensation compared to any dollar amount.
I agree with you, man. For me, it's receiving those messages when someone says, "Yo, I needed to hear that episode. I needed that episode. That episode touched me. It made an impact." And those are the messages that drive me. Getting those messages, or getting a DM or something from someone that I've made an impact by just releasing the episode, or recording the episode, or whatever I'm doing. To me, it's no greater feeling. I
Oh,
enjoy that more than anything else.
yeah. Yeah. That's so
But
true.
But again, once again, brother, thank you for coming through, man. Greatly appreciate it. Don't leave just yet. Let me close the show out, and me and you chat a little bit off the air. But again, thank you. This has been great.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. All right, so all right, let me close out the show. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Facebook user, which is probably my boy Obaimi. Big shout out to my man Ben Sutherth III from the BS3 Network, where we air on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays at 5 p.m., sometimes on 6 on the occasion. Big shout out to my partner in crime, Cole Sports. What's going on? Big shout out to my Real Wise fan, Bobby J, Brandy J. Big shout out to the boss lady. Love you, baby, and appreciate you. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. Oh, and before I forget, big shout out to my man Franco Perez for coming through and sharing his story, man. That was a great time, and greatly appreciate it. And you know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.